Okay, Econ students, this is Ms. Gildon, and we are here to talk about unemployment today. Well, what are the causes of unemployment? Unemployment is caused by many things. People being between jobs for one reason or another, company or industry shutting down for a season, workers' skills might not match those needed for the job that are available, and of course, just the traditional economic downturns. And we're going to go into each of these in more detail. So there's various types of unemployment, and keep in mind that unemployment will always exist, even when the economy is booming. Economists look at 4 categories of unemployment. We have frictional, seasonal, structural, and cyclical. Okay? Frictional unemployment occurs when people take time to find a job. Right? A person who is frictionally unemployed may be changing jobs to find more satisfying work. They might be laid off and in the process of looking for a new job. They could have just graduated or just got out of school and they're interviewing for jobs. Or they could be returning to the workforce after a voluntary absence. Maybe they stayed home to raise their children, or maybe they just took time off to travel and now they're trying to get back into the working world. With structural unemployment, the economy changes and the skills that workers need to succeed also change. So like I said before, the skills to build a VCR aren't necessarily the skills that you need to build a Blu-ray, so they're not hiring workers that are capable of making VCRs in the plants that are making Blu-ray players. So that means that the skills don't match, and we're not really buying VCRs for our homes anymore. So workers who lack necessary skills lose their jobs. And structural employment occurs when workers' skills don't match up. Okay? That for the jobs that are now available. Keyword, now available. Those jobs from the past may not be relevant today. There are 5 major causes of structural unemployment that you need to know about. There's the development of new technology, the discovery of new resources, changes in consumer demand, and globalization. There's also a lack of education. In the 1990s and 2000s, policymakers developed various training programs to help workers gain new computer skills in light of the fact that computer technology and globalization, as well as other structural changes, threaten the future of many workers. Retraining people takes time. However, the new skills do not assure that that trainee will be able to get a high-wage job. So then we have seasonal unemployment. And that occurs when industries slow or shut down for a season or make seasonal shifts in their production schedules. So it can occur as a result of harvest schedules or vacation schedules in agricultural areas and tourism-based areas, respectively. Economists expect to see seasonal unemployment throughout the year. Policymakers do not take steps to prevent this kind of unemployment because it is a normal part of a healthy economy. So for instance, down at the beach area, there are a lot of people that get laid off during the winter because there's less people frequenting the area. But in the spring and through the summer, employment numbers are much higher because those people are hired back to jobs that have a higher demand for them. The lives of seasonal unemployed workers can be very difficult. For example, you have migrant farm workers. They face seasonal unemployment once the harvest season is over. And the harvest schedules are often unpredictable, so that transition from one crop to another is hard to gauge, and that really depends also on the areas that you live in. Cyclical unemployment is a little different, and when you think of cyclical unemployment, I want you to think of cycle, like the business cycle, that crazy roller coaster we've talked about. So unemployment that rises during economic downturns and falls when the economy improves is called cyclical unemployment. During a recession, many workers lose their jobs. Many of these laid-off employees will be rehired when the recession ends and the business cycle resumes an upward trend, when we go for that expansionary period of time. Today, unemployment insurance provides weekly payments to workers who have lost their jobs. The payment usually provides about half to about 60% of the workers' lost wages each week for a limited amount of time. And then we have some factors outside the economy. So sometimes events occur outside the economy that cause unemployment. For instance, many jobs in travel and tourism were lost following the 9/11 attacks. And the reason for this is because people weren't traveling as much, and the security was increased with flight, and people were scared to fly, but also the security checkpoints were slowing the amount of flights that people could get out. And also, airlines were forced to put new security features in that would then increase the cost to them, so they increased fares on airplanes. So people were more inclined to drive if they could, rather than fly on a plane for higher price tickets. In 2005, the destruction caused by Hurricane Katrina made thousands of people lose their jobs. The city of New Orleans and along the Gulf Coast like Shreveport, things like that, they were almost completely wiped out. So you would think, okay, now all these people have to rebuild these places. But people don't have places to live. Not only homes were destroyed, but businesses were destroyed. So those people were unfortunately laid off or lost their jobs and didn't have a source of income, which is also one of the reasons why many people left the Gulf Coast region during that time and have been slow to return. Then we have to look at measuring unemployment. And how is that unemployment rate calculated? Well, the government keeps track of how many people are employed and why. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, as you know, Ms. Gildon loves to get statistics from them, they compute the unemployment rate from a monthly household survey of 60,000 families who represent a cross-section of the United States in various socioeconomic situations. The unemployment rate is adjusted for seasonal unemployment, right? And taking this step allows economists to be more accurate and compare unemployment rates from month to month. The comparison helps them better detect changes in economic conditions. And the unemployment rate is only an average for the nation. It's not reflective of regional differences. Economists generally agree that in an economy that is working, probably an unemployment rate of around 4 to 6% is normal. Okay, so it's normal to have unemployment, 4 to 6%. And that's something we call full employment. And that gives way for people to be retrained and also that transition from job to job. Full achievement is achieved when no cyclical unemployment exists, so the up and downs of the cycle. And then I asked you, why does a high unemployment rate correspond with a recession? Well, remember, production has slowed down. And when production slows down, factories and employers are forced to lay off their workers. In doing so, the purchasing power of individuals is cut. And so they can't afford to buy as much, which then continues to slow production down and causing more layoffs. So you will see on the screen that we have recession right here in 1983, 1984 at almost a 10% unemployment rate. And then we come over here to 2009, the beginnings of the Great Recession, and you're seeing that we're well over 9%. And it has gone down since then. Full employment means that nearly everyone who wants a job has one. If you're looking for a job, you've got one, no problem. However, some people do remain underemployed, and the concept of underemployed is that they're doing a job that they're overqualified for, that they have more skills than what they're using or is necessary for that job. And because of that, the pay probably reflects that, meaning it's probably a lower wage earning job than what they're used to. Or people are working part-time when they really want to work full-time, but they took a part-time position because it's what was available to them. Other people simply give up hope of finding a job, and then they're considered discouraged workers, and they've just stopped looking for employment. They're like, you know what, it's too much, I can't do it anymore, I keep applying, and I'm not getting a job, and I'm getting interviews, or I'm not getting interviews, and you know what, I'm just not going to do it anymore. Although they're without work, discouraged workers do not appear in the unemployment rate determined by the Bureau of Labor Statistics because they are not actively seeking work. Remember, in order to be considered unemployed, you have to actively seek work. Also, to receive unemployment benefits, you have to actively seek work and turn that information in weekly. All right, well, that's all I've got for you today on unemployment.